Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated, and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster, landmarkselfstorage.com, and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success, enterprisebanking.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the City of Leominster. Thanks, and thanks for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, Enterprise Bank, Landmark Storage, DeCarolis Insurance, MP Crowley and Associates. I hope I got everyone. We're live this afternoon, so as always, we welcome your phone calls at 978-534-1626. And it's that time of year where Mr. Art from the Art Report kicks into gear, begins to do his moving exercises and prepares himself. However, one slight surprise is Art was bumped out of the Opens because of Tiger Woods. And I'm not sure how he feels about that, but let's go to the phones and we'll catch up with Art from the Art Report.
Well, we did go off there today, and it was a little chilly. My partner chipped in on the eighth hole from about 60 feet to get a birdie.
Nice.
Yeah, he did it. He did good. I had a par, and I had some good shots today for the first time out. But on a more serious note, I want to hats off to the incredible efforts of you and your staff for putting together the Ross Reynolds tribute in his final resting, and from the flyovers, from the departure from Logan Airport, the planning that had to be enormous. And it took somebody more than just a mayor that sits in a corner office and signs his name. It took somebody that loves his city, his people, and just knows how to logistically put things together like that. And hats off to you, sir. That is not just because we're buddies or whatever. If you didn't well up watching that, there's something wrong, and I did, and I'm proud of him, you, our city, and everybody that was involved with it. And the point waiting in line outside City Hall, yeah, I was cold, so wasn't everybody else. But you know what? We were paying our respects to a hero, a hometown hero, and God rest him and his family, and you and everybody else that had a part in it, in planning and sending him off in fine style. A Marine, and we're proud of him.
Well, thank you. We have you said it. We have a great team. People ask, well, how come you ran again for office? And I said, this is like the all-star team. This is the best of the best. So when things like this happen, unfortunately, it's a real good team. And I mean the whole team, department heads, employees, everyone said whatever I can do to help. And you know, makes it easier, right?
It's a good point that you said that. And not only the fact is it a good team, but everybody wants to do a good job. They're not feeding an ego.
Right.
They're not walking around with itis. And we don't need people like that running cities anymore. We don't need seat warmers. We don't need somebody to go around and pat people on the back and hold babies. There's a lot more to it. Logistically, and we're growing, and it's noticed by a lot of people. I've got friends from Florida to Timbuktu. They all commented on how wonderful city came up to the plate and hit a home run with this massive, massive undertaking.
Well, it's certainly due. It's a good kid. I say kid because I've known him since he was a scout. And good kid, good student, good friend, best kid. If you have kids, this is like, the best kid you could ever wish for, best brother, husband, in-law. And in the in-laws, we met the in-laws, and what a wonderful family they are. And it just keeps going on and on and on. So People really stepped up. Anything that we needed, we just kind of nodded in that direction, and it was there.
Yeah, the people that volunteered with the ribbons on the post.
Absolutely. It's all of that. And that's why I always say you can be generous, but you don't always have to be generous with money. You could be generous with your heart. You could be generous with your time.
That's right.
You could be generous with your words. There are many ways to be generous.
Yep.
And people were absolutely generous. Couldn't do enough for that family, and still can't. And there's still people that are like, how can I help? Is there something I can do? I'm like, you know what? In time, you'll be able to help, because you want to make sure that every once in a while you're dropping them a card or somebody sending something just saying, you know, we didn't forget, we remember. And as things, you know, settle down for them, that's when it gets tough, right? Sort of everybody goes.
And you know, I couldn't help but think when I was watching it on the computer, it wasn't a little thing in part of this procedure, but it was a key situation was the state troopers on Route 2 that would block an exit to keep it open for you folks, and the minute you were by, that trooper on his motorcycle took off and went to the next exit and the next exit. It just was a flow. Once you left the airport, a steady flow to Leominster.
And all the way to Westminster, to Winchendon at the summit, same thing. U.S. Marines, Anderson and Funeral Home, Isabella Anderson Funeral Home up in Clarendon Street in Fitchburg Police, Leominster. I mean, the list goes on and on. We're trying to keep track. I don't want to miss anybody. Veterans Director Richard Votor and Jolene and everyone just, I'm telling you, it's the all-star crew, and not just for that reason, but people really wanted to give a hero the welcome he deserved.
And the respect, I mean, the firemen, we're standing in line at City Hall waiting to view, and the firefighters come out of the central station, and they marched. And then I had chills, this wonderful group. I don't know if they were Navy or looked like dressed Navy or dressed Marines, but male and female. There must have been, I don't know, 10 of them maybe. And they're marching down Church Street, and that just brought, it was awesome to see. I mean, all this organized marching, et cetera, showing respect for the situation.
I believe those that you're referring to were all wearing wings, so they're pilots, which is all young, just talented pilots. I mean, imagine being that young, flying some of these planes and aircraft.
I couldn't get over that. I thought I was looking at teenagers for crying out loud.
Yeah, these are the brightest of the brightest flying these things, and you know, as we see, things can happen, right? Just, you know, sad, not sure what happened, but things can happen. And they did, and unfortunately, you know, four in total lost their lives in preparing for what, you know, any day could be a call for them to you know, I mean, look what's going on.
Absolutely.
I mean, I never thought we'd see this after Afghanistan and Iraq. I thought, you know, everybody just goes back to their little world. A little bit of conflict, you know, every once in a while they'll send off a missile in North Korea just so we know they're there, and China will do something so we know they're there. You know, there's this posturing going on, but, you know, we've become a global world in terms of our economy, and I'm just thinking, nobody wants that. We've moved on from all this, and then this happens, and, you know, freedom is always under fire. No pun intended, but it is, right? There's always somebody somewhere in the world who believes that, you know, freedom is not the way to go, and that, and so and that's exactly how we got to the term "freedom is not free," right?
That's true.
That's free.
True. Well said. Thanks again to everybody.
All right.
The flag handouts, everything. It was marvelous the way this young fellow was honored, and he deserved it. And
could be your kid, could be my kid, could be anybody's. That's why when somebody needs help, you step up to the plate, and if we do it that way, then we all succeed, right? We all, right? The good days, I've come up with a new motto. When people say, "Oh, you guys have done a wonderful job," I said, you know, during the snowstorm last year, there was a storm that we kind of miscalculated, and one of the DPW workers said, you know, we're sorry about that. We miscalculated. You know, you said it was going to, you know, we're going to have this burst of snow around 5. We miscalculated, and I said, when things go good, we can all take a bow on the stage, and when things go bad, we eat poop, right? That's the way it goes. It's a team effort, and things go good, we all get a chance to rise to the occasions. When they go bad, then, you know, we got to accept the blame, right? The good and the bad. So
that's what strutting was made for, I guess.
That's right, exactly.
That's right. Have a good one.
So long. 978-534-1626. My name is Dean Mazzarella. The name of the show is Inside Leominster. We're an hour early today, so if you're here at 4, well, you're a little late, but don't worry about it. 6:30, we repeat the show again. We're doing this from, we also stream this live, as does the LTV, and it's also on demand, so you can catch it any time you like. We're going to take a short break, and I say short, and then we'll be right back here with more Inside Leominster. Uh, 978-534-1626. Brad Campbell's with me. He's a member of the board of directors for the American Red Cross, Central Mass, and Western part of the state. And we'll be talking about the mission and the activities of what the Red Cross does. Brad was elected, and I like to read these. I know sometimes you might not like to hear these bios, but I'm always interested, and I think people are too. Well, it usually sounds like our mothers wrote this.
Yeah, I think probably mine did.
But anyway, it's just good to know, like, who's here. So Brad Campbell was elected to the position of the CEMA, or CMEA, in September of 2017. CMEA is a HR support organization assisting small and mid-sized firms with implementation of HR laws, as well as employee benefits and leadership education, which is critical today.
Absolutely.
CMEA was established in 1904 with a membership of 300 businesses. Previously, Brad serves as executive director of the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Western Mass from 2003 through 2008, and again from 2010 to August of 2017. Also served as administrator for the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Mass from 2011 through August of 2017. These nonprofits supported the residential construction and remodeling industry, assisted members firms with education, legislation, health and safety, and general business practices. He also serves as a chairman of the board of, is it ARA Credit Union? How do you say that?
ARA.
ARA, Credit Union located in Springfield, Massachusetts. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
So you must have some building experience, sounds like, in there.
I have some construction experience. What's not there is I spent 27 years with a wholesale distributor of building materials.
Which one?
So it was a company called Martin Millwork in Springfield, Mass. We were an Anderson window distributor at the time. Anderson changed its distribution philosophy, and 2 years later, after that, I went to the Home Builders Association. We knew the industry, knew the people.
Know how to get things done, and
Well,
watch new legislation that gets passed, and then people say, well, how come it's so expensive to build a house today?
Yeah, really?
Well, because
let's have another discussion on that.
yeah,
whole
well, I
topic,
mean,
Mr. Mayor, right?
that's what I keep saying is affordable and housing no longer can be used in the same sentence.
Affordable, reasonable housing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're at the point where even reasonable is necessarily a word that's used in housing any longer.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's funny. It seems like a lifetime ago that I was doing that work. And I moved into the nonprofit world because it kind of fits who I am as a person. I love helping people. I like supporting
Like, this is the mission.
organizations.
This is really why I'm here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so you got involved
absolutely.
with the Red Cross?
We did. Yeah, that was kind of a funny story through the home builders. You might remember a little thing called Katrina. Well, our association had collected some money for Katrina, and it never got turned over to the Red Cross. I don't know why. It was pre-Brad. And I found it in the safe.
So they collected it, but it
They
just
collected
got turned
it.
over.
Just never got turned over. So I reached out to the Red Cross executive director in Western Mass at the time, and Rick said, come on over, we'll talk about it and see how we can make this work. And we were just starting at that point with a program. It was actually after Katrina, now that I think about it, 9/11. And we were just starting in Springfield with Hometown Heroes campaign in Springfield. We were recognizing people that had done really important things in the community. He says, why don't you donate it? We'll make you a sponsor, et cetera, et cetera. And that went on for, we stayed as a sponsor through the home builders, I don't know, 10, 12 years.
Wow.
A really important program for the community. It was really well received and well done. So I really got involved in the Red Cross probably in I'm going to say 58, 59. When my dad came home from Wyman Gordon, he worked at Wyman Gordon in Worcester, and on his lapel he had a pin very similar to the one that I have on my lapel today. Only in that time it was a little clip-on. It was a little white clip-on with a red cross in the middle of it. And we had a little conversation. I said, what's this all about, Dad? He says, I donated blood today. You know, and as a 7, 8-year-old kid, I said, well, why would you do that? You know, don't you need your blood? He says, well, yeah, we need our blood, but we need to be also understanding that others need that same product. And so we had a neat conversation about it, and I finally said to him again, why did you do this? And he said, if I don't, who will?
And what will happen to those people that need that blood?
Yeah, and that was kind of a lasting impression, if you will, on me as a child. And then unfortunately, as I turned 16, 17, 18, my dad developed cancer and needed some of that blood that others were donating, and it really had a lifelong effect on me, and it still sticks with me today. So, you know, we remember all of those things, and today the Red Cross is probably as meaningful as it has ever been. The challenges that the world is facing with global warming, or climate change as we now call it, and we see what's going on in Ukraine and around the world. We're watching down south with tornadoes and just the amazing natural disasters that are taking place. And what really sparked this conversation with you today was the fire that occurred on March 5th over in Fitchburg, right, I guess on the Fitchburg-Leominster line at Town and Country Apartments. You know, there were 24 apartments, as I understand it there. 18 of them were made unusable because of that fire. It affected, obviously, 18 families. But what we don't know is it affected 31 people. And the Red Cross was there, supporting those people, opened up cases, provided resources, provided guidance, developed a strategy and a plan with each one of those units on how they're going to pick up the pieces now that they've lost everything. And it's really just an interesting process the Red Cross goes through. That single fire 18 units, 31 people, was an investment by the Red Cross of just under $10,000. 3 days before the fire, I had been fortunately at Rollstone Bank. I was given the honor of accepting a check from Rollstone Bank in the amount of $10,000. And I wrote a thank you note to the president of the bank, Mr. Connor.
Yep.
And I said, Kelly, can't believe it. We were standing there talking in his building about fires, disasters, the need for resources, and you know, jokingly we said there'll be a fire in this community that will need these resources. Never did we expect it would be 3 or 4 days later.
That's always
right?
the way to go.
Yeah,
That's always the way it goes.
So, you know, part of the process today is to say to the community, not only do we need money is always an important component, but we need volunteers.
Right.
We need people that are going to be there and go to those fires and help those people in those times of need. And we need volunteers to help us teach young people about fire safety and home fire safety. And we have a great program on that given enough time today we can talk a little bit about. But just been an amazing journey.
Brad Campbell is a member of the board of directors for the American Red Cross of Central Mass and Western Mass. He's our guest today. If you have any questions, 978-534-1626. This is live if you're watching now. We replay it later on at 6:30. We're a little early today. We have a grand opening of a new business. That's a whole nother story in and of itself, which I'll share with you at the end of this, should we have enough time. So at one point, Leominster had, on Merriam Ave, was the Red Cross.
Right.
Then they moved downtown. Now where are they?
So, like every organization does, we consolidated. One of the criticisms, I guess you would say, of the Red Cross for many, many years is too much money in a lot of people's minds was being spent on buildings and people and not enough on contributions to the community. So like any good organization, you're going to consolidate, you're going to take a look at your operating processes, and you're going to make some really difficult decisions. As far as a facility in the, what I'll call Northern Worcester County Marketplace, there is none. The local chapter office is located at 2000 Century Drive in Worcester. We service all of Worcester and Western Mass from 2 locations, that one in Worcester, one in Springfield. But we have volunteers that are supporting our communities within each of our communities.
And that's what you hope to get today. Is
well, yeah.
Some people to call and say, well, I don't have a whole lot of time, but within this organization,
there's a place for
There's
you.
a place for everybody, right?
Yeah.
We just had our emergency management director on last week, and it's one of the things we're pushing is, look at, maybe you work somewhere and work will let you out for a few hours when we need your help at a fire. Our canteen unit shows up to these to provide water and soup in the winter and all of that.
Well, I mean,
that's all volunteers.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing that you finally realize is that when Clara Barton was on that battlefield that we were talking about before we came on in 1862, she was alone. She did it all alone. 25,000 casualties that day. She didn't care if it was a blue uniform or a gray uniform.
Right. Blood is blood.
It was a human being that needed care. And this community has just gone through that.
Right. Yep.
You know, so you look at that and you say, we need the support of communities in order to provide the life-saving services that the Red Cross delivers each and every day, regardless of whether there's a building in the community.
Right. But when there's an event like this, there's usually press that says, you know, Red Cross assisted.
Absolutely.
That has to bring in some fundraising. There has to be, you know, you have to, but you need people.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you might be able to raise money. Money's good.
Yeah.
Because it keeps the organization running.
Well, without it, we can't do anything, right?
But you also need people, and you need volunteers, and you need
Without
people
question.
to give blood,
Yep.
to, you know, virtually, you might not need an office, but you have everything you could ever want on their website or their Facebook page or whatever.
Yeah.
It's people, it's boots on the ground, right?
Absolutely.
That you need.
I mean, when you really think about it, the Red Cross is still a volunteer organization. Yes, we have paid leadership, staff that has to occupy, you know, time and resources, but they turn to volunteers like myself and say, can you do this? Brad, would you be willing to go on the TV show with Mayor Mazzarella, excuse me, and talk about the Red Cross and what we do within the communities. Absolutely. It's just the things we should be doing. It's raising the awareness.
You brought a smoke detector with you today. Is there a program
smoke detector, yeah.
that you offer?
Well, I wanted to make sure the building was safe.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yeah, I know it is.
2 years old.
So one of the programs that we're running right now, we run it all the time, is something called our Home Fire Campaign. That was a momentary blank.
That's okay.
But
you
our
can't remember everything.
No,
Where would you put it?
Our Home Fire Campaign installs smoke detectors in homes that have a need for smoke detectors, absolutely free to the resident.
Nice.
So on May 7th in Worcester, we have a Home Fire Campaign installation program. We'll be putting smoke detectors in 50 homes on May 7th with the assist of the local fire department. We need the guidance of the fire department to tell us where they would like to see those smokes, CO2s, if they're going to follow the letter of the law. We want to make sure that we do it right for the consumer. And then we also develop a home escape strategy for each one of the residents. You know, if I was to ask you right now, what does your home escape plan look like in your home? I'm sure you have one.
Yeah, right out the window.
Yeah, get out as fast as we can.
I'm not going to start looking around to see what options open.
Right. Well, and a lot of people
I'll break an ankle or something, but I'm going out the window.
I'm going out somehow.
Yeah.
You've got 2 minutes to get out of that house, on average.
Yep.
2 minutes
That's
to
why
get
I'm
out
going
of
out
a
the
burning
window.
home. It's, you know, it's not everybody for themselves,
No.
but let's get out of here as quick as we can. It's the right answer.
Safely as you can, sure.
So anyways, Home Fire Campaign does that. You know, I mentioned the Rollstone contribution of $10,000. That helps us fund that. Last year alone in Massachusetts, the Red Cross invested over $1 million in providing resources and services to residents of all of the towns throughout the state. You know, those dollars have to be generated somehow and somewhere. And as you said, when something bad happens, it's easy to raise money because our hearts and our minds and our pockets open up.
Right. It gets a lot harder when it's 3 days after the fire and something else has happened and people have moved on. And, and then you put out a call for, hey, we need some money, and it's a little harder to get.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we call gray sky fundraising, is when the disaster strikes.
No,
Blue sky fundraising is when everybody's happy and we're all playing golf and forgetting about the things that happened yesterday. So.
Where do you live, Brad?
I live in Sturbridge.
Oh, so you're pretty close to here.
Yes.
Kind of halfway between here and Springfield.
Well, I mean, I worked for, close to 40 years in the Springfield marketplace. So,
oh, wow.
You know, when you think about that, it made a lot of sense. But Sturbridge is kind of located a little bit halfway between a lot of things.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's kind of like, well,
neat little community.
Unless you're going to drive up Route 2 and go that way, it's really kind of between, you know, to get to the Pike and then Pike out that way,
Absolutely.
right?
So anyways, these are the smoke detectors. You mentioned these. These are the smoke detectors we end up putting in. These have all been, generally have been donated. And we, along with the fire department and a firefighter, will go into these homes. We do a pre-inspection, make sure that the home actually needs it. We obviously can't put them in non-owner occupied housing. You know, if it's rental, and they're not the owner, we can't put a smoke detector in there, but we can certainly work with that owner and say we should upgrade this house. But we'll be out on May 7th to do that, and would love the opportunity to work with your fire department and do the same thing in Leominster.
Sure, they run a similar program, but there's always more. I mean, and think about it, for the cost of the product today and the advancement of the technology, I can't think of anything else that you could do to protect yourself and others.
Well,
I mean, the batteries last like 10 years now.
Right.
I mean, so it's not even a question of, the
old days we go to testing them anymore.
Yeah, we go to a fire before, 20 years ago, and it'd be the smoke detector, the lid would be down, the battery would be, the Radio Shack battery would be out, or the free battery they got, Radio Shack, would be out. Hey, you laugh, but down in South Carolina, they're still there.
I know.
They're kind of like part of a, local electronic guys still get the franchise or something.
There you go.
But yeah, and there'd be a fire, and you'd think, geez, all they have to do is change the battery.
All right.
But think about it, right? Got to get a battery, got to get on a ladder, I don't know. Whatever it is that people don't change it, I don't know what the reason is, but there's no reason now. I mean,
No.
they're inexpensive.
Well, and
departments give them out for free.
yeah, and you know, the other thing about this program is raising the awareness of how fires happen. Most people don't realize that 70% of fires occur during the process of cooking.
Yep.
And that happens because we walk away from that boiling pot of whatever it may be.
I thought I was cooking something.
Yeah.
I ran into the bathroom. I came back, and the frying pan is now the frying
On fire.
kitchen.
That's right. The whole kitchen is the frying pan.
It used to be the careless disposal of
cigarettes.
right? The smoking materials. That's what they used to use as a.
I
But
have to
obviously, not
say-
as many people anymore that smoke inside. But now decks are burning down. But there's always a good reason to have proper smoke
Without
detectors.
question. And so we do that education while we're installing those smokes. We're doing the educational component. We're making people aware.
We even have these canisters that you can get that stick up in the hoods.
Yep.
And should the thing
help
catch on
put out the
fire,
fire.
it just helps
Yep.
put it out.
Yeah, those are pretty cool things.
Yeah.
Now, that's a good solution to a sprinkler system in a home. We know where 70% of the fires are taking place. Let's address it in a logical, economical way.
Right.
Let's deal with where the significant number of incidents
Highest
are happening.
Probability.
Yeah. We also have a couple of great programs for kids. One called the Pillowcase Project. The Pillowcase Project is designed for children in the grades of 3 to 5. We provide each student with a pillowcase. We go through a fairly short presentation, 40-ish minutes. The pillowcase is designed with artwork on it that the kids can color in. And then in that pillowcase, they put all their personal needs.
Oh.
So clothing, toothpaste, face cloth, towel, etc. Stuffy, of course, you gotta have a stuffy. And that goes under your bed. So if you ever need to get out quickly, you can grab your pillowcase, take it with you, and you have all of your emergency content right there in your hands. And then we have a second program for K to 2, which is the Pedro Project. It's a neat coloring book program on all of the different disasters that young people should be aware of. In each case, we hope that those young people will take the message home and say, Mommy and Daddy, how come we aren't doing this stuff?
Right.
And make the awareness level go up in all of this. So, you know, home fires, fire prevention, the whole concept of being safer in our homes is really, really important.
Sure.
And, you know, we were talking earlier, we need volunteers to be in those schools. We have great volunteers in Boys and Girl Scout programs. We have great teachers in our school systems. All of these places we can teach these programs and can be part of a very straightforward curriculum without a lot of effort.
Brad Kelly, member of the Board of Directors for the American Red Cross of Central and Western Massachusetts. Thank you for coming on with us.
Appreciate
Did I
the time.
forget anything, or did you forget anything?
Well, the only thing I forgot is, again, our sincere condolences for the loss of the community, the family,
Thank you.
and certainly his wife.
Yeah, no, that's just, I guess, everyone who enters the military, you know, they don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, right? You get trained, you follow your training, you do everything possible, you go over and over and over and over it in your mind. And then even then, things can go wrong.
It happens.
And the
Life
best of
happens,
times.
right?
It sure does.
It's another one of those great programs, the Red Cross is the Service Armed Forces. We're one of the only organizations in the United States that can reach any one of our military personnel anywhere in the world with a simple phone call.
Amazing, huh?
We have that capacity. That's been endorsed by the United States government, blessed by them. So we have that access. And, you know, I don't know all of the facts and circumstances behind this particular case, but many times, you know, birth of a child, we can reach that soldier, male or female, let them know what's going on at home, loss of a loved one, et cetera.
Yep.
And we've many times arranged for the return of a soldier. So Red Cross has tremendous power, tremendous reach.
It's a big network.
It is, but again, keep in mind, as you and I have talked about, it's basically volunteers doing the effort.
And we need more.
We need more.
And how do people reach it? Should they just go to the website? Or
They can go to
what's
our
the
Red
friendliest way to do this?
So you can go to the Red Cross website. There is a piece in there on volunteering, so you can just take a look at that.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, Mr. Mayor, you don't have to commit your entire life to this. We'll take whatever you can donate.
Sure.
If you're looking to send a financial donation, that can be sent to the American Red Cross, 2000 Century Drive in Worcester, Mass. That's our local office, as we talked earlier. And certainly we would love to support the town of Leominster and their surrounding communities with all of the programs that the Red Cross has available. We just need the boots on the ground.
All right. Thank you, Brad. We're going to take a short break here at Inside Leominster, 978-534-1626. That was an interesting segment. And thank you, Brad. I could tell you got a lot of experience in the world, right?
Just a little.
Yeah, good for you.
Just like you.
And you're having more fun now, right?
Absolutely.
All right, taking a short break. We'll be right back.
Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm hath bound the restless wave, who bids the mighty ocean keep its own appointed limits keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee for those in peril on the sea. Oh, watchful Father, who does keep eternal vigil while we sleep, guide those who navigate on high, who through grave unknown perils fly. Receive our oft-repeated prayer for those in peril Eternal Father, grant, we pray, to all Marines, both night and day, the courage, honor, strength, and skill their land to
What a beautiful, beautiful candlelight vigil. And yeah, I can't say enough about all who participated, and so many people came, blocked the streets off, weather held up. And yes, and yeah, we'll get a chance to summarize all this, and you know, down the road we'll get a chance to kind of chat about it. But for now, it's just taking it all in. And yeah, that was the candlelight vigil held on Sunday evening for Captain Ross Reynolds. Let's go through this real quick. We'll do some slides, then we're off to a ribbon cutting. And this is as of yesterday, 63,000. I rounded everything off. 63,000 people got tested. 1,300 people tested positive. 3 deaths. 1 is too many. 167 in all of Worcester County. Right now, we're at about 52. That's 52 in the last 14 days. Hospitalization rate is at 219. Intensive care, 28. And intubated is 17. It's National Girl Me Too Day. National No Housework Day today. World Health Day, National Burrito Day, National Beer Day, and National Alcohol Screening Day. I think tomorrow's going to be National Double the Amount of Housework Day because we skipped 2 days. 88% of the city is vaccinated. You can see most of those that are, you know, 18, 15 years or older have been. They just started with the 5 to 11 years old, and that's why it's a little low. There's some of the streets that we didn't get done for last fall, but we'll get them done this spring. Following the steel is going, I mean, so quickly up there. It's like on a Rector set, Leominster Police Station Project.com. You can follow the whole thing. And they're over at TwinCityTrail.com. You can follow the whole rail trail project. Happy to have you join in and catch up on what's happening. I think it's August 27th. We're going to be doing Starburst on August 27th, and it's also going to be the official opening. Even though it may open sooner, it will be the celebration of the opening of the rail trail. It's that time of year, leaf and yard waste collection. Started on Monday, and it's going to run through May 27th. So if you get a nice day, don't wait until May, and then you get rain every weekend, and it's windy, and it's hard to gather all these. All leaf and yard waste must be in paper bags, biodegradable or open barrels. No plastic bags, because we can't tell if they're biodegradable. Yep. Any questions? 978-962-3558. That's the health department. Here's our schedule for things that are coming up, of activities and events. Notable, next Friday will be our Easter Fun Day at City Hall. And we usually have the Easter Bunny there and some live bunnies, all kinds of cool things happening. Bring your cameras, bring your kids. Don't forget your kids. April 15th from 10 to 2. And then on April 26th is April 21st is Leominster Earth Fest. And then on the 26th is the Taste of Leominster. If you're looking to find out the Woo Sox, opening day coming up, next week or this weekend? But Leominster Day is July 24th. So put that on your calendar. Pictures of the week are as follows. There's Leominster Police Station progress, steel going up quickly. Backfilling, foundation and compaction. Yeah, it's really going quick. Getting ready for the next mass mayors meeting. And we're hosting the mayors from across the state this month of April. And they always love coming here, because when they leave here, they leave with a pickup full of things made right here in the city of Leominster, the pink flamingo capital of the world. And a tribute to Captain Reynolds, thanking Wendy that came in to get the project going. DPW came in with bark mulch, and then Wendy planted flowers later and then placed flags. Yeah, there's stubborn Mrs. Mazzarella who said, no, 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 I've got to go downtown when we have the Heroes Welcome Home on Saturday. And despite it all, Mary Brooks found her a chair. Somebody came over the blanket. Let's see, Mr. Frieda, got to give him, Tony Frieda, got to give him credit for this photograph. So there's my 92-year-old mother out there, as many others, paying tribute to Captain Ross Reynolds. And so many people came out. There it is. That's the Candlelight Vigil. That's at the very beginning of the Candlelight Vigil. And there were still more people coming in when we got started. And yeah, quite an amazing thing, I'll tell you. Very emotional. It's been the last 2 weeks have been extremely emotional. Today's manageable, I guess, to say. And, you know, the family's going to need a lot of support from here on in. And let's not forget them. Thank you to the United States Marines, Police and Fire, Veterans, Emergency Management, Anderson Funeral Home, just everything. As Art said at the beginning, everything went according to plan. The wake was set up at City Hall, and family was there to greet it. Now, the family stood there from 12:30, I mean, a good 7 hours. They didn't want to miss anyone. They wanted to make sure that if people took the time to come out and stand in line to salute and recognize and pay tribute to their son, then they were going to make sure they were there, and they were. There's the riderless horse honoring Captain Reynolds, tradition. Thank you to 477. Troop 477 showed up. That's Ross's troop when he was in Scouts. Got his Eagle Scout from Troop 477. Just so happens to be the Eagles' organization number is also 477. And they not only were there for the funeral, but they were also there for the Candlelight Vigil as well as the Heroes Welcome. They were up on two spots. They were at the on West Street at the Veterans Center in that area, and also at University and West Street, holding that flag you see, paying tribute to one of theirs. And we want to thank the Fire Department, Emergency Management, DPW, and a great American tribute by no stretch of the imagination. There's the Fire Department, see all the flags. There's just so many people to thank, and we'll do one segment on that. But in the meantime, this is the procession going from City Hall to St. Cecilia's. Father Broderick did just a magnificent job. Every single word had an impact and was meaningful and hopeful And the bishop showed up, Monsignor Maroney, Father Shaughnessy, a priest from Holy Family, from St. Anna's and other churches around the city and the area also were in attendance, and so many others. St. Cecilia's, a full entire hall, right? A full entire church. And St. Cecilia's is the biggest church around, and standing room only, huh? Isn't that amazing? A very nice tribute and a beautiful Christian Mass for Captain Ross Reynolds. And Throwback Thursday, there is the National League. Took the title 1955 and 1956, the baseball team representing the Rec Center. Front row, Jay Levine, Jack Hathaway, Ossie Watkins, Paul Case, Jesse Haar, Ron Galluccio, Lee Ricker, and we're going to the back row, Jeff Johnson, Hank St. Cecilia, Jim Champagne, Bill Laprade, John Gallagher, and coaches Bill Laprade, Dad, Bob, and Elmer Johnson to the right. Isn't that a classic? 1955, 1956. We're talking 66 years ago. Isn't that a good one? There you go. All right, so we're going to go up to Sauce. Sauce is a new business in town. It's a food truck, food trailer. And they have been working, when I tell you this, I don't mean it just to patronize and say, oh yeah, greatest business in the world. These owners have done a remarkable job. They have spent over a year building the business, the brand, the business plan, and have really paid attention to detail. They have spent a couple $100,000. And I'll tell you, I've never seen, and I mean this, a small business so organized and such a good plan that they had. Every single detail, they were incredible. From their logo to their menu to everything. So they hired a company from Bill Ricker who builds these trailers. That's basically a kitchen on wheels, and have paid all the way, all along. And then last Thursday, allegedly, and I say allegedly, the company was supposed to come down because there were a few things that was a leak in the roof, and there were some things that needed to be taken care of, and then there was a refrigerator that was supposed to be delivered, and a generator, and the whole trailer was set up. So last week, because it got cold, they had to stay there because they couldn't afford the risk of having things freeze. So they took turns staying there all night, slept there, and then on Friday they left because the temperatures went up and there was no fear of freezing. On Friday night, going into Saturday morning, a truck pulled up, allegedly by the person that built this trailer kitchen, hooked up, didn't even take the chalk box off. Now remember, this whole thing is set up as a restaurant now. So there's oil in the tanks. This is not packed up for transportation somewhere. This is unpacked and it's set up. It's got 20-something, almost $3,000 worth of food in it. And the alleged owner of the business that built it apparently had some issues with the fact that there was still a payment that needed to be made, but the payment was canceled because they didn't show up to deliver on the final pieces. This is all what's alleged and what I know from the story. And so the owner of the company that built it, now remember, this is registered and insured to the new owners. Drove off with it, brought it to Bill Ricker, placed it in a spot and nobody could get to it, surrounded it, blocked it off, and then later actually moved it to an unknown location. And I kind of wonder if somebody was to go out and find that location, what would happen, because they did call the police. The police filed a report. They went to court to get an arrest warrant, and the clerk said, I'm going to hold off on the arrest warrant, but let's set a date for a hearing, and that's in 3 weeks. They have planned to the script. I mean, in fact, I've got to leave here early because I'm on at 4. Every single detail has been planned out for this event. So what they decided to do, so they're without a food truck for the next 3 weeks, even though they planned on opening, even though their food was there, gave up jobs, everything. So they're housed at the Eagles up on Litchfield Street, just up the street from here. So they decided they're going to continue on with this opening tonight. They're at the Eagles. You can go by for some food, testing and tasting, and they have games, and everything's plotted out here. That's how incredible they are. Just the attention to detail is phenomenal. So they're going to open, going to cut the ribbon anyway, as if the truck was there. Still going to offer food, and I hope when they get the truck back, we can really pull together as a community to really help them out. They have invested a couple $100,000, all of their time and resources, and it's up to us to support them, right? Caller, welcome to the show.
Oh,
Hi.
how are you, buddy?
Good. How's things?
Good. Hannaford was very busy today.
I wonder why on a Thursday. Well, I guess Thursday's a busy day, right?
Yeah.
You know, people get paid, and I guess that's a busy day, right? Thursdays, but every
Yeah,
day. But every day's a busy day for food.
Yes. Mark is doing good. I like him a lot.
Oh, good. Tell him I said hello.
Yes, I will.
He's a good man.
Yes.
Did you sell a lot of flowers for Sholin?
I think they did.
Good.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay,
All
buddy?
right.
Take care.
Kyle, I'm going to
Yep.
take off at 3:55. You give me the hook, as they say. But I do. I don't want to leave tonight without thanking everyone. And I know I speak for the family. The outpouring of love, caring, respect that they offered the family, and the news crews. All of, for 2 weeks, news companies and channel whatever, and they have taken this story and gone around the country with it. And they were here almost every day, and they covered stories like when it was announced and it was official and released officially, I guess, that Ross was on board in Norway. Since that moment, when it became public, they have done a magnificent job. And they covered stories like making of the bows and placing of the bows and the candlelight vigil and the hometown hero welcoming. They did the stories where they talked to friends and family, and they did it all. And then they did the funeral, and then it was a private funeral up at private services. But they never once bothered the family. They never once overstepped their boundaries. Where we told them to set up, they set up. Where we said they could take pictures, they took pictures. They never once disrespected the wishes of the family, and they did a good job. They did him service, and these stories that they wrote and also had on the TV channels, which made it to Facebook and wherever, traveled across the world, believe it or not. And so whatever it was, whatever your contribution was in any way, could be a small way, could be a large way, whatever, just thank you. It does make a difference, and it mattered to that family, to Ross's family, his wife. And remember, they're bringing her family out and from New Mexico, and it meant a lot to them. So again, to the entire family on both ends, and their family was a close family, dedicated to each other. Our condolences as a community, right? And so, thank you. And remember, Memorial Day is coming up. These are why these days are so important, right? Because of the sacrifice. When I see veterans standing on the side of the highway saluting, or hand over heart, or just everyday people coming out holding a flag, it's got to be that way every day, right? Okay, we're out of time, Kyle says. I want to thank you for watching the show. Thank you. Good night. God bless you. And remember, the world is run by those who show up. Captain Ross Reynolds and his 3 other colleagues showed up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated, and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster, landmarkselfstorage.com, and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success, enterprisebanking.com.
This is LTV.